Hey, thanks for dropping by. My name's Jamie Sylvian. I'm the founder of Rise Strategies. We help companies to buy other companies, and we do it by creating a strategy for mergers and acquisitions that gives you a program to work on over the next coming weeks, months, and years to build out your business through acquisitions. Now, how do we fund those deals? We partner you with our private equity partners. And that simply means that once the deals are found for you, and that's either deals that you find or deals that we find on your behalf, the private equity side of our strategy will actually create the funding for you. So they become your mergers and acquisitions deal team. So working collaboratively, we can find acquisitions for you to buy. They can fund those deals for you, and they can become your advisory plug and play advisory mergers and acquisitions team. So they find the money to make these deals happen. So ideally, an ideal situation is that you have 5% of a deal value, and that can come in lots of different formats. It doesn't have to be cash in the bank right now, but they will fund 95% of the deal. I'm going to show you exactly what that means in a minute in terms of what you can buy, basically. Now, most companies, as you'll see in a second, most companies just think, oh, I'll buy my competitors. And of course, that's a great idea, but there is a much, much larger strategy that you can adopt to make this thing happen. So let's cut over to a video that I prepared earlier that takes you through the process and gives you a few ideas, a few pointers on what you can acquire. Okay, so let's assume for a second that you're partnered with private equity, and so now you've got funding for pretty much any acquisition that you want to do. So how could that look for you? How could that look for your business? And I've done this chart it's a bit messy, but I've done this chart to show you how I mean. So I'm going to take you through what a strategic acquisition program could look like for your company. So the obvious thing, the first low-hanging fruit, if you like, is to buy your competitors. Why are you doing it? You're buying their customers, so you're buying the lifetime value of those customers, and so you're effectively buying market share. But also, when you're buying your competitors, you can usually find that you can consolidate overheads, you can do some cross-selling between the two. There are other than owning the brand, there are some direct reasons for buying a competitor. Now, number two is buying media. So obviously, I don't know. We're sector agnostic. This works for any type of business. It's a very well rounded out plan. But you'll have to imagine what you do in your business for a second. So on media, I'll give you an example. So I've done a project recently in the health, nutrition, wellbeing space. How many Facebook groups are there for that? For yoga, for healthy eating, for veganism? When you go through that whole range, there are millions and millions of people who have an interest in that kind of stuff. Now, you can't buy a Facebook group, you can't buy it off Facebook, but what you can do is go to the administrator of that page and do a deal for you to become the administrator of that page. And when you do that, you get instant access to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of eyeballs directly onto your product. If you're in the B2B space, then you go onto LinkedIn and you see all of those groups. What groups within LinkedIn attract the kind of people that you want to attract to your business? Because this is what you'll be doing for leads and for eyeballs, is buying out media. Once you've got that in place, you can see you're going to need more resources to manage your growing business. So instead of building up a sales team or your team one by one, how about buying teams and systems for your infrastructure? This is the infrastructure of business. So let me give you an example. Let's say you need a sales team now to take care of that. You can, of course, grow organically and hire out and do all the onboarding, the training, etc. Or you could buy a sales team, a company that has sales teams, and they're already up and running. They're already working cohesively together. They already know how to sell, and they've already got clients. That business that you've just acquired is not coming just the team. They're bringing with them the revenues that they're getting from the other clients that they're working with. So you're adding those revenues, you're aggregating those revenues into your overall group. So that's number three. So when we go back to the front end of stuff, you've already bought the competitors, you've got all of the eyeballs. Now you're going to maximize that. You're going to increase the lifetime customer value of all of these by buying in companies that have products and services that are strategically a nice fit for you. So if you sell, into manufacturing space and you sell welding equipment, or you sell welding services, what about sheet metal services? You're buying other stuff that these people will buy. So it's complementary products, it's complementary services, and that increases the lifetime customer value of the customer simply because there's more for them to buy from you. So that's number 4. And then you take a step back to the operational side of your business, for to buy into your supply chain and your distribution chain. This is all about increasing the margins of your business. So if you think about the business as you're running it today, and you look at your supply chain, are there businesses within that supply chain that you could acquire that will give you an increase in margins? You're paying less. You've got the revenue of the business you've got coming in, but you can also pay less for the service that they're providing to the company. And again, remember, they are coming to you with their existing customer base. So it's all increased revenues for your business. They're coming with management, they're coming with teams. You can do some cost consolidation of HR and finance, etc. But this is all about increasing margins in the business. That's number 5. Number 6 is when you buy in IP. What IP? If you're in the manufacturing, what about molds? What about plates? What about designs that have IP that you could buy? Now, of course, they don't add immediate value to your business unless you're licensing them already. But ultimately, when you come to exit, they do. If they are undestructible IP that you now own, that adds value to your business. You can build that into your eventual exit value. And number 7, which is the last one, is what businesses can you buy that will give you monthly recurring revenues, because that becomes an easy fundraise for you. If you're looking at raising more capital, which is obviously what our private equity partners will do, when they're working out how to do that, if you have reliable MRR, monthly recurring, or annual recurring income, if you have that, it's a much more attractive proposition to get when you're raising the capital for the funders to get on board with what you're next trying to acquire. So that rounds out for the business that you've got right now. But here's where it gets really cool. Every business that you've just bought, as we go around this chart, also can sit on this. So let's say you buy in a sales team. That company can sit alone on its own. It's bringing revenue, it's making profit. You can do all the same for that company. If you buy a company that's giving you increased lifetime customer value because of the strategic fit for the customers and the products and services, you can buy other bolt-ons to that. You now have access to that capital. Same thing with supply and distribution. You can buy bigger companies. If you buy a warehousing business, just as an example, because that's in the supply. What about buying 2 warehousing businesses, 3 warehousing businesses? Because you now have access to the strategy, you now have access to the capital. In other videos I'll show you how to actually find the clients, but right now, just to know that there is a whole strategy that you take for the business that you've got right now, and as each business is bought, you can round out to grow them also through acquisitions. That builds a much bigger group for you. It's aggregating revenues. It allows you to consolidate and cross-sell and so on. But this is a really nice rounded out strategy that you can think about today. I'll put this graphic up, a much cleaner version of this graphic up for you on this page. But if something like this does make sense to you, if partnering with private equity makes sense to you, if having a team behind you to actually make the acquisitions work so that you continue with what you do day to day, which is running the businesses, but behind you is a team to find, fund and acquire these kinds of businesses to build out your business, then book a call below. Let's have a conversation about your business. Not a sales pitch, let's just have a conversation and see what you do, how you do it, where you do it, and see strategically how all of this stuff could work for you, and how this might help you to be a strategy for very fast growth. That's much faster than organic. And because you're buying in management, it doesn't mean you're buying in a huge more workload for yourself. You're buying in the people to run it, and you step up on to becoming more of an overview of the entire business. So that's what we do. We can help you to get this stuff done. If it's of interest, book a call. There's a button below. Book a call. Let's have a conversation. So I hope all that made sense to you. I hope that you can see that there is
there is the potential to put in place an acquisition strategy for your company that has the deals found for you, the opportunity all found for you, with a fixed price, so you know exactly what your outlay is. And then there is a way to get a complete mergers and acquisitions 11-man team on board for you to make those deals happen, to find the money, to make the offers, and so on. So the strategy is pretty much end to end. You can build out a strategy that you can use for the next few years until you get to the kind of a size of a business that you either make a life-changing exit for you, or if you're up for the adventure, to go forward to an IPO, and then that's a whole new story. So if you are interested in this, then book a call below. There's a button below. We work with all sectors. We're completely sector agnostic in terms of what we do, and we work with companies in the United Kingdom, in Ireland, across Europe, across the United States and Canada. So book in a call, and we'll have a chat and see what we can do.